Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your brother Isa Ma. Is it me, or there seems to be more and more Muslim YouTubers every day? Inshallah, in today's video I'm going to talk about some of the possible problems with Muslim YouTubers and how can Muslim YouTubers and their viewers take precautions so that they can avoid these possible detriments and harms. Your first reaction will be, wait a minute, aren't you a Muslim YouTuber? Well, to some extent, yes, and that's why this video is first and foremost a reminder for myself. Hopefully others can benefit as well. So, the first problem with a Muslim YouTuber is to do with intention, and we all understand that it is the core for every action. It will be devastating for a Muslim YouTuber to dedicate so much time and energy editing videos, uploading videos, replying to comments, reacting to other Muslim YouTubers, only to find out in the hereafter that because of his or her insincerity in intention, that all of this is for nothing. There's no reward at all, and there's nothing that will benefit him in the hereafter. It will be terrifying to imagine this scenario, but it's also a very real possibility, and that's why Muslim YouTubers should be very careful and conscious of this possibility, and to constantly check himself and herself and ask himself and herself, why am I doing this? What is my intended outcome? Do I really intend to serve some benefit? Do I really intend to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how exactly? So these questions we really should ask ourselves over and over again. However, this problem, as terrifying and significant as it is a personal problem. It's between a person and himself. It's a struggle between a person and his or her nafs. So it's a internal mostly problem, and it doesn't affect a lot of people, at least not directly. But there are some communal problems as well, problems that will very directly affect a lot of people, especially for influencers who have a lot of subscribers and followers. So the first communal problem is what I call misplacing of attention, or distraction, to put it simpler. What that means is basically every minute you spend watching a Muslim YouTuber, and let's be honest, more and more of the videos by so-called Muslim YouTubers are entertaining in nature instead of educational. And every minute you spend watching a Muslim YouTuber pranking another person, or cooking a meal, or just telling his friend that he has become a Muslim or whatever, is a minute you are not spending learning beneficial knowledge from an accredited Islamic scholar. Is a minute you are not spending improving your tajweed. Is a minute you are not spending appreciating the beauty of Islam and the intricate details of different acts of worship, etc. And it's sad to me that my YouTube channel has more subscribers now than Zaytuna College, the first accredited Islamic liberal arts college in the United States. It's incomprehensible to me, and also it's very sad to me that a video of mine as a reaction to another Muslim YouTuber has more than 100,000 views within 5 days, whereas some wonderful and amazing lectures by Ustad Ali Hamouda have like 3,000 views. Although that's partially because he is trying very hard to avoid attention. Most of his work is offline, may Allah preserve him. But sometimes such phenomenon is really sad to me, the misplacing of attention. Sometimes we have the responsibility for distracting people from better things. And let me promise you that if you spend less time watching my videos and spend those time watching videos produced by scholars and professional du'at, or just offline, meeting with a righteous friend, learning from him, improving your adab, your manners, improving your general spirituality, let me assure you I'm 100% supportive, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for myself that if you make that decision. However, don't get me wrong, of course we have to acknowledge that there are benefits. Muslim YouTubers, their videos have benefits, and sometimes people get inspired and enlightened, and I hope some of my videos have served that purpose. But in general, I would say the conversion ratio is much less, by myself at least. I can't say for others, than say for you to watch Ustad Ali Hamouda or other scholars and speakers. So that's the first problem, the misplacing of attention, the distraction that prevents you from doing more important things or better things, prevents you from using your time in a better fashion. And then the second communal problem is what I call misrepresentation. You see, many of the Sahaba accepted Islam because Muhammad ﷺ is a good man. That's it. Many of them were attracted to Islam simply because of the great character and qualities of our Prophet ﷺ. Although theoretically we all know that, you shouldn't judge a religion by its adherents, because human beings are imperfect. So we say that Islam is perfect, Muslims are not, so don't look at Muslims, rather look at Islam itself, look at its teachings. Theoretically, this is all true. But psychologically, people look for symbols, right? This is in sociology called symbolic interactionism. Or is it interactionist symbolism? I don't remember. Anyway, so we look for symbols, we look for evident manifestations of ideas and ideology. So non-Muslims will very naturally look at Muslims and come to conclusions about Islam. It's only natural. So when Muslim YouTubers become very influential, have a lot of subscribers, occupy a very large amount of attention on the internet, then people will think about Islam in the angle that he or she provided. So this is something heavy if you think about it. So we should have higher standards against ourselves, because people will derive their perception of Islam based on your behavior as a YouTuber, as a so-called influencer. And so when you present a somewhat negative image as a person, or you show some negative characteristics, although it's understandable that we all make errors, we are imperfect, but if these negative traits are to an extent that make people doubt the integrity of the religion, then there will be accountability for that. We will be asked in the hereafter for portraying or representing such an image that really is a kind of disservice to Islam rather than service. So misrepresentation is basically about whether we are making people appreciate Islam or the opposite, or making people distant and even more suspicious of Islam. So therefore, Muslim YouTubers should really realize the heavy responsibility of such a position. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told his Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, "Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila." Indeed, we are going to give you a heavy word. The Quran is heavy, the revelation is heavy, prophethood is heavy, and by extension, being a follower of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is also heavy, because you are carrying on the token, you are carrying on the mission of spreading the truth, you are carrying on the identity of khayru ummah, the best nation, you are carrying on this identity of being a khalifa. So it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not that I just registered an account and I just want people to see what I talk about and appreciate my eloquence. No, you are representing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are accountabilities and there are responsibilities. So we should really take it seriously and think carefully before every video we publish, before every sentence we utter. And then the third problem with, and also a communal problem with Muslim YouTubers, is the popularization of errors. And what that means is, so Islam comes with a set of rulings, ahkam, and they are designed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are unyielding. They will not change by people's will. Inna al-halala bayyin wa inna al-harama bayyin. The Prophet ﷺ said, what is permissible is clear, what is impermissible is clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu iwaja. All praise be to the one who sent upon his slave a book in which there is no crookedness, there is no curvature. So it stands still, it stands true, it stands with integrity. Nothing can change it. It doesn't matter if you like it or not, you accept it or not, you agree with it or not. This is the furqan, this is the criteria of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is what it is. However, in psychology and also sociology, there is the conformity theory, and there are two different kinds of conformity. There's informational conformity, where a person actually doubts whether he's right when a different perception or opinion is more pervasive in terms of the number of followers. And then there's nominal conformity, which is when a person knows that he is right, but he's afraid to express it because he doesn't want to stand out. He just wants to belong. He wants to be the same with people. And then even as Muslims, we know that the criteria is from the Quran, from the Sunnah, from revealed knowledge. But the impact of conformity, the psychological pressure of conformity, is also real. And we've all felt this, I'm sure. Sometimes you would feel shy to do certain things in front of non-Muslims. You feel also a sense of urge to belong to the larger society. And so we should try our best as Muslims to make good deeds and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as normal as possible, so that other people feel comfortable doing them. And similarly, we should make sins and the haram behaviors as hard as possible, so that people feel uncomfortable doing them. And this is part of the way of amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar, to command what is good and forbid what is evil, is by this conformity tendency, right? To make the good things easy, basically, and to make the evil things hard. However, Muslim YouTubers sometimes do, consciously or not, is that some of us, of course not all of us, and I would say only a small fraction, sometimes popularize wrong actions by normalizing them, by desensitizing people to them. For example, a Muslim YouTuber can share his dating experience. He has a girlfriend, she has a boyfriend, and he's talking about it as if it's normal, as if it's okay. But it's not. It's haram. It's impermissible relationship. It has so many potential problems and harms, and people who have fallen into this trap must know. But when an influencer who has a lot of followers talk about this kind of behaviors openly and publicly and as if it's okay, then that popularizes the error. Similarly, when a Muslim YouTuber shares music or even performs music, that popularizes the idea that music is halal when it's not. So the popularization of errors happen subconsciously, but sometimes extensively. It sometimes make it hard for people to practice upon the rulings and teachings of Islam. And again, of course, this doesn't apply to everyone. I would say that most of the Muslim YouTubers are actually contributing to a positive change. They're making things, the good actions easy, and they're making the haram things hard. And this is what we should do. We should popularize the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should popularize the idea that Tawheed is good, and sincerity is important, and dhikr is paramount for a believer's life, etc. And we should also popularize the idea that homosexuality is wrong, no matter how many people parade about it, that lying is wrong, no matter how white you think your lie is, and that learning is important for every single male and female Muslim. So this is what we should do, but we should be cautious and conscious of the possibility of popularization of error. When you see a Muslim YouTuber do something that is wrong, that is against the teaching of Islam, admonish him or her. Although with wisdom, acknowledge the good in that person, admonish the sin or the mistake, because by making it seem normal, it affects a lot of people's perception in a negative way. So these are the problems that some of the problems that I have come to realize about being a Muslim YouTuber or following a Muslim YouTuber. Now, how do we deal with these problems? I have some advice, again, first for myself and for the fellow Muslim YouTubers and for their viewers. The first advice is we should actually constantly ask ourselves, is it worth doing this? Is what I'm doing really necessary? So I mentioned in my last video that sometimes something is good, but it's better not to do it, because you have to evaluate the pros and cons. So I ask myself two questions very often. The first is it good? Right? Because if something is not good, you shouldn't do it, definitely. But even when it is good, I ask myself a second question: is it necessary? If this good already exists in a similar format, then by doing the same or similar good, I'm producing a redundant good, which, if you think about it, is worse than doing something else that could be equally good but in a different way, by providing something that doesn't exist already, right? So a lot of times I don't make videos that are popular on the internet because they already exist. Why should I do the same thing? People can benefit from others. There's no need to spend redundant time doing redundant things. So the reason for me to maintain this YouTube channel, despite having a lot of second thoughts, I've been thinking to myself, there are so many great du'at who have been trained professionally with great Islamic education, who have great charisma and abilities to call people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to impart Islamic knowledge. Why should I do it? They're doing much better than me. But then when I evaluated myself and my identity, I've realized that on YouTube there are very few Chinese Muslims, if any. Actually, so far I'm the only active one I know of. If you know others, I'd like to know them as well. So there is a necessity for me to represent my demographic, right? Sometimes people think that there are no Chinese Muslims, or they're all persecuted, they have no voice. So my existence, my identity represents a demographic. Then there's a necessity, there's good from that. But if you are doing something that so many other people are doing, then even if it's good, but if you find it redundant, then you might consider using the time otherwise to do something better. And it doesn't have to be always public, something for people to see and hear. It can be a latent investment. For example, you can spend the time improving your Arabic, which will definitely benefit you and others in the long run, in the future. You can spend the time with your family, which is something that I plan to do, inshallah, very soon. I plan to, after I finish my master's degree, I'll take a gap year or even a few years to just accompany my families and serve them, because this is one of the greatest good deed. It's very rewarding to do so. So yeah, for Muslim YouTubers, we should actually think about our necessity. Am I really necessary? Is this video really necessary? Is my platform really necessary? Is the work I'm doing really necessary? Is there something better I can be doing? So all of these questions we should ask ourselves. And we should have a close friend who really wish good for you to check on you, because sometimes this, in psychology, I forgot the term for it, but our perspective is limited. You don't see everything, so people's attention is like a spotlight that can only shine on one position at a time, and you lose sight of the surrounding environment. But if you have a good friend who looks out for you, he may realize things that you do not. So have a very good friend, especially people who have, good iman, strong faith, that will look out for you and give you sincere advice, nasiha, who really want good for you in this life and the next, and who have proper understanding and wisdom and knowledge to guide you, right? Normally this is a mentor figure, someone older than us, sometimes an elderly, sometimes a scholar. It's very important. Even the greatest du'at in the world need scholars to guide them, right? Sheikh Omar Suleiman, Sheikh Ustaz Nu'man Ali Khan, they have their teachers to guide them. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf constantly mentions his teachers. So we all need teachers. If these great scholars and speakers need teachers to guide them, then surely we do need teachers. So get to know someone in your locality, someone that you can meet in person. It's rather important to have this kind of face-to-face physical companionship, right? The Sahaba were so great because they had the suhbah, the companionship of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's another advice. And to maintain a balance, right? This is something I've also realized based on my personal experience. If you spend too much time paying attention to the feedback and response to your video and to people's comments, your life will be imbalanced, right? So you have to find a balance between your interaction and your solitude. You have to find a balance between your digital presence and your physical presence. You have to find a balance between input and output. This is something that I find very important. What that means is, like, making a video and expressing your opinions and telling people what you think is output, right? You are giving out things. But if you constantly give out, you will be empty, you'll be shallow. So we need input as well, and input includes reading, learning, thinking, reflecting, contemplating, right? In Islam, we also have the practice of muraqabah, some kind of Islamic mindfulness to enrich ourselves spiritually, to enrich ourselves from the inside. Only when you are full yourself can you give others. Otherwise, you are harming yourself in the process. So to find a balance between input and output. So these are the problems that I've thought about, and some of the advice that I hope are beneficial to Muslim YouTubers and also their viewers. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from evil and lead us towards good and increase us in knowledge and wisdom and conduct and character. And may He bless the Muslim Ummah in our time and our resources and our efforts and endeavors. May He guide us towards the best behavior and reward us for all the good that we do, and gather us in Jannah in the hereafter. Allahumma ameen. Thank you for watching. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.